Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's having a magical Wednesday. Had to think through what day it is. It's been a busy week already, but hope you're having a magical Wednesday. I don't go live on here very often these days, but I'm trying to fix that and start going live a little more often. The Blue Talks brand, we're getting a lot of things set up behind the scenes that are going to allow me to do more of this kind of stuff and more media and more of all of that kind of stuff and bring that back into my life a little bit. So I just wanted to go live really briefly. I never know how long these are going to be, but really today, this is, as you guys know, very positive minded person. Don't like to sit in negativity ever or negative energy, but just a little rant today. And really, it comes back to the expert space that a lot of us find ourselves in. And I just want to put this out there to you. If you find yourself in the expert space and you're trying to think about how you want to brand yourself, how you want to market yourself, I feel like we need to get away from this idea of saying we're the world's best this, or the planet's best that, or the universe's number one this. I see this so often these days where people will say, as an example, sought after speaker. And then when you get talking to the person, you realize that they've maybe had 3 or 4 speaking engagements for the year. And I would make the argument that that's not sought after. And so I think words matter, is what I'm trying to say. And so I feel like you can market yourself as an expert without stretching the truth. You can market yourself with an expert and word it in a way that it's true. And at the same time, it's not making you look like something you're not. So, for example, I see so many times people will say the world's number one coach. And like I said, to me, you might as well say the universe's number one coach, because how do we quantify that? Now, what I will say to this is if you want to put something like that in your bio, on your Facebook page, on your introduction, what have you, that you're the world's best this, or you're the number one certain coach in the universe, then in my opinion, it should be something that was said by somebody else. I mean, if you want to get around it, I guess you could get your cousin to say it. And then you could say, according to Bill, this person is the world's number one, whatever. But at the end of the day, to me, it's one thing if the media says it or somebody kind of announces you that. For instance, in a lot of media interviews, people said, "Oh, so you're like a modern day Napoleon Hill." And so to me, it's okay ethically, it's okay morally for me to list that somewhere. The modern day Napoleon Hill. I had somebody a number of years ago say he's like the Canadian version of Tony Robbins. So of course I had that on my website, but I hadn't listed who said that. Another person once said, "What Bruce Lee did for Kung Fu, Corey will do for your event," and that was in a meeting planner. So those things to me, I'm saying them and including them because they were said and cited by somebody else. But for you to anoint yourself the universe's number one coach, talking about knitting, and I'm being facetious here a little bit. I really think you have to look at why are you doing that. And I see so often people will start a company and 3 days later they'll say we're the premier brand that does this or that. But they're 3 days old, but they're the premier. How are you the premier one if you've just started? How, and the best go-to source for this, and we're 3 weeks old. To me, I just feel that we can do better, is what I'm trying to say. We can do better as people. We can do better as experts. I think it hurts the industry whenever everybody's saying they're the number one this and that. And I was talking to somebody about this the other day, and she reminded me of the scene from Elf, where Will Ferrell walks by a coffee shop, and it's like this kind of rundown, old, gritty coffee shop, and it says number one coffee in the USA, or number one coffee in North America, or whatever it said, number one coffee in the world, whatever it is. And he runs in, he goes, "Congratulations, you finally did it," meaning you finally made the world's best coffee. But the joke within the joke is the fact that meaning Will Ferrell's character, is new to the world. Like he was in the North Pole, and now he's discovering the city for the first time. So he actually sees that and goes, "Oh my God, it must be the number one coffee because it says it right there." So very literal. But again, when people see that and they see 5 people say the world's number one or premier coach, it hurts the industry, because clearly they either get confused by how could they all be the number one, or the other one, they go, "Well, who, how did they decide that?" And then they it loses credibility. So again, I just want you to think words matter. Think about your words. Ask yourself, am I doing myself a service or disservice by saying things this way? And then ask, what are the real words? So for example, I have the book right over there, but a Wall Street Journal USA Today. I was part of a USA Wall Street Journal best-selling book. Now, this book that I was a part of was a compilation or an anthology book, meaning there were multiple authors. So people always say to me, how do you word that? Say to me, how do you word that? Do you say I'm a best-selling author? And I said, you can. And most people do. So most people that are in an anthology book will say I'm a best-selling author. I don't say they're, hey, do as you wish. That's your choice. But for me, how I word that, and you can see it on my bio, it says he's also a co-author of the Wall Street Journal USA Today best-selling book, Quitless. So I don't say I'm a Wall Street Journal USA Today best-selling author. I say the co-author of. And to me, that's because words matter. But at the same time, what I've learned is you still get the same amount of credibility. People still see it the same way. It's like if you spoke somewhere, even if you word it in a way that it makes it true, they still see that you spoke that place. And so again, the takeaway from this rant, if you want to call it that, but it's just kind of how I feel, and I think a lot of us struggle with this, is as experts, words matter, and how you present yourself matters, and how you position yourself matters. And if you say you're this or that, and it hasn't been quantified, and again, how do we quantify the world's number one this or that? But if you say that and just kind of label yourself that, it probably seems great in theory, because from a marketing point of view, a positioning point of view, you probably think, well, there's some people that will jump on that and go, oh, well, they're number one, I better hire the number one. But I can bet you there's a lot of clients these days that know and see through that. And I will add, just as the caveat, if somebody like Jack Canfield, I think on his site it says America's number one success coach. Well, Jack was probably called that by somebody in the media. And so that's a different story. Like I said, if somebody calls you that, then you could literally say, you could have, if it was the New York Times, it could say the number one coach in America, New York Times below it, as long as that really happened. And to me, then it's cited. Then it's something you can use. But for my money, words matter. That's, again, hopefully I reiterate that many times, because I've learned you're better to say the same thing multiple times and have it sink in than you are to say one thing multiple times. And so I hope that sinks in. I hope you realize when I share this and when I say this, even if you consider it a rant, I do it because I care. Because I care about our industry as experts. I care about how people look at the expert industry. I care about how people view us. I care about the longevity of our industry. I care about the credibility of our industry. And I think you need to choose how you market yourself wisely so that it represents fully what it is. If you're not a sought after speaker, you can still say other things, for example, if you were at an event and somebody said this was the best speaker we've seen all year, then use that instead of saying sought after. Like if you only have 3 bookings in the year and you've been trying to get more, probably not sought after, but it doesn't mean you can't say for instance, like I said, if somebody said you were the number one speaker at our conference, then say the number one, instead of saying sought after, say the number one speaker at such and such a conference as cited by so-and-so. So just work on your wording, make sure when you're positioning yourself, what you're saying is legit. And then, it makes everybody better. It raises all the boats in the tide and we all win together. That's my little rant for the day. Thank you, Chander and Sajel. I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, Sajel. I'm not sure if I am, but I might be. Thank you so much for commenting. Thank you, everybody else, for watching. This will stay up as a replay. And again, ask yourself, are you truly the universe's number one insert thing here? Thanks, everybody. Till next time.